Thank you for tuning in to Entertain the Geeky, your source for nerd news.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Jason with you as always. Chris is here with us as well.
Guys, what's going on?
And we didn't get to do this last week, so I want to apologize to everybody who's loyal out there and listens. I just had some bad stuff going down and didn't get a chance to get around to it, so I apologize. But in that interim time, we've gotten a lot of awesome things that we need to discuss. I'm just going to start where I would like to and talk about Black Panther.
Do it.
Man, that theatrical trailer is
Sick.
Is insane. I mean, for a while we've obviously had expectations about what Wakanda is and what the Black Panther movie will be. And the teaser trailer did enough to kind of give us an idea that some of those things that we love about this world are actually going to be coming to the big screen.
I'm super intrigued by how they've done this whole tribal thing with it, and I was scared about how they would integrate that into the modern Marvel universe that we've been experiencing for the past, almost 10 years now.
Absolutely.
So, and based off what I've seen so far, they're doing a really good job of it. It looks awesome. They still keep the hey, we're a tribe, I'm a king.
Yeah.
They keep this whole vibe about it, and it's sick, man.
Yeah, we still have the technological background of Wakanda.
Absolutely.
But we also have a very tribal nature to everything that's going on. And I'm definitely digging the fact that we finally got to see, I guess, Gold Jaguar would be the best way to describe him. We saw that in the teaser trailer. We saw that little pose that he does where he kind of pulls the blades and he looks like he's about to be attacked. What we didn't see that we have seen now is that he's using some kind of, I guess, maybe image-inducing technology.
Yeah.
That's really the thing I can think of. And if you're unfamiliar, Nightcrawler, one of the X-Men, used to use it so he could walk around looking normally. It was basically just like a thing that he wore that masked him in a holographic projection. Yeah. To look like a normal person. Look like whoever you want, really. They've been used by S.H.I.E.L.D. and various stuff like that. So I guess maybe they're introducing that into this world.
That'd be crazy.
That would be interesting, because I can't really imagine the costume just kind of like manifesting itself, similar to like Iron Man with the Extremis and the Iron Man 3 stuff. So I'm not really sure what to make of that. Whether it's some kind of image-inducing thing or whether it's technology in Wakanda is just well beyond anything we've ever seen, which I guess could be the case. And that what Iron Man did with his suit that's able to kind of just like assemble itself has been something that they can look at and laugh about because they've had far superior technology for years.
Like, dude, come on, your stuff's weak.
But the trailer is spectacular and just really does a good job of giving us a view of this world and what we can expect, while still leaving a lot of questions. And there was the really funny comment that popped up when the poster went up. They revealed the official poster, and there are two white guys on the poster. And if you're familiar with the white characters in this mostly black cast,
they're bad guys.
Martin Freeman's, he may not be a bad guy. Maybe it's still up in the air, but it's Martin Freeman and Andy Serkis. So the joke was the two white guys are Bilbo Baggins and Gollum.
Yep.
The Tolkien white guys.
I saw that.
It made me laugh. I had to chuckle.
Did you post that or repost it?
Maybe. I don't remember.
I think maybe it did.
Somebody did, because it was hilarious.
It was good.
It was all over the internet.
It was very good.
But yes, I am looking forward to seeing Claw back. Last time we saw him was Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Yep.
Getting his arm chopped off. Now he's got his like fancy
robot
tech arm, with the lasers, and it might not be what we remember from the comics, but it's a MCU substitute, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, very interesting to see. They kind of give us a little more of the relationship between him and Shuri. Shuri is, if you're unfamiliar, is his little sister. In the comics, she's been the White Tiger, and she was Black Panther for a while in the comics as well. So that's interesting to see. Another trailer that popped up in the last couple of weeks is New Mutants. And I was actually very, very confused. I guess because I didn't really expect 20th Century Fox to embrace a more kind of horror aspect to a story.
So we actually talked about this on the EG podcast.
Okay.
We're freaking stoked about it.
I think it's interesting. I just didn't really expect them to go that way, right? Like it seems an interesting direction. Now, there is speculation that this could be something that's happening in one of the characters' minds. And this is their way of coping with their abilities, or it could just be a legit look. They're in a place and their powers are new to them and they really don't know how to control them, and somebody's powers are out of control without them realizing it. But it did have a couple of key things that I thought were very interesting. Richter is being played by the kid from Stranger Things.
Heck yeah.
The older brother from Stranger Things, Will's older brother. Which I think is very awesome. I thought he was great in that. I thought all those kids were great in Stranger Things.
Stranger Things had an amazing cast, man.
I'm looking forward to seeing what they do, with their
Season
careers.
2.
Well, Season 2 comes up, wow, it's this Friday.
It is, dude. So, we had this week, Christopher was like, "Is that a scary show, Dad?" And I'm like, "It's a little creepy." I'm like, "But I think you could actually handle that one."
It's more sci-fi than horror.
And he's like, "Cool. Can we watch that before the new season comes out?" And I was like, "You're damn right we can."
Yeah, absolutely. Because it does have like horror kind of creepy elements, a little bit of jump scare type stuff, but it's mostly a sci-fi thing. I mean, we'll get into a little bit of spoilery territory, so if you've not watched the show,
watch it.
Earmuffs, cover up your ears and stop listening for a sec. But it kind of, the idea of an alternate reality that exists kind of parallel and stacked right on top of our own goes into like string theory and some of the real like scientific theories about alternate dimensions.
Absolutely.
So I think it has the horror elements, but I think that's because you're looking at it from the perspective of humans who view it as something that's scary.
Correct.
Rather than something that's scientific. Because any sci-fi fan is going to look and go, "Oh my God, this is like the shadow realm or the dark realm or the underworld."
Well, yeah, because I look at it, like me personally, I look at it as the shadow realm, the upside down.
Right, yeah.
And there's demigorgons there and whatnot, so I'm like, no, that's bad. That's scary.
So yeah, it has the scary elements, it has the sci-fi elements, but it looks like, getting back to New Mutants, that we're getting a horror film. I mean, the trailer definitely implies that the narrative is going to be driven by scare.
Yeah.
Which is interesting from 20th Century Fox. I could see the MCU doing something like that because they've done these like genre-defining things.
20th Century Fox, with Deadpool, they had a chance to do something genre-defining.
They did.
They took it, they seized it, and I think they realized what that meant. So then you get it again with Logan.
Right.
Genre-defining movie.
Something that's different.
Absolutely different.
Yeah.
So now they're like, you know what? We can put superheroes in these movies and it doesn't have to be a superhero movie.
Exactly.
We're just going to make a good film.
Well, so you'd think they would have learned that long ago. The MCU has been doing that successfully for the better part of a decade now.
I mean, yeah.
You know what I mean?
The MCU also, though, they've gotten formulaic with stuff. So, like, you watch one of the origin movies, we're really watching the same origin and again and again and again, just with a different guy in it.
But that doesn't stop them from being entertaining.
I'm not saying that they're not entertaining.
But
the Winter Soldier is what really changed it up for them.
Well, that's true.
Because you have that, and then you have Guardians of the Galaxy, which steps outside of their normal framework again, and then you get Doctor Strange, which also stepped outside of the... Like, you still have the
even
superhero...
Ant-Man,
Ant-Man was great.
Beyond
that's
their
fair.
normal structure, with the exception of the villain trope. That's the thing that I think they get into a little too often, is the hero is basically facing his negative.
Yeah.
The villain is basically matched with the hero in terms of either technology or, tied into the narrative in some way. They're always kind of facing the opposite of them.
That's
and I
fair.
think that's something that's been happening in comics, forever.
I think in Iron Man 2, that's one of the things that they really got right, though. Because we got Whiplash...
Yeah, but ultimately he just became Crimson Dynamo, which was another guy in a big suit. You know what I mean? Yeah, he had whips and stuff still, but he was just basically another guy in an Iron Man.
I guess that's fair. It's just when he first bombarded Tony Stark,
cut
his race car in half, I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome.
I was excited about Whiplash, but then again, they just turned him into another guy in a suit.
I guess you're right.
Iron Man 3, which is most people's, not their favorite movie because of, loyalty to who the Mandarin is as a character, didn't enjoy that movie, but I think that's the movie that really took it outside of the realm of, look, this is just another guy in a suit. We're trying to challenge Tony, not challenge Iron Man. What I think Iron Man 3 did well is it challenged Tony and made Tony realize that with or without the suit, he is a hero.
Well, and we see that continue over into Age of Ultron.
Absolutely.
And where that's not the strongest Marvel movie,
no.
You do get to see the trials and tribulations of Tony Stark there.
Oh, yeah.
That made it interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so what New Mutants has to give to us, is yet to be seen, whether it's, again, just someone lost control of their powers in this terrible place, or this is happening in someone's psyche. Either way, I think it looks like it's got a great cast.
Good horror flick.
Yeah.
That's all. If they can deliver that,
exactly,
that's going to be a killer movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's still going to be a PG-13 film, so there's still going to be a targeted audience for this movie, right? That may not be the die-hard, hardcore horror fans, but I think we'll still have enough of like the typical PG-13 horror tropes, like jump scares and creepy imagery and off-screen deaths that are handled by shadows and things like that, which could be very interesting. Moving on into the video game world, so a couple of things have popped up this week, and I'm going to start again where I want to start because we might be getting a new Legacy of Kain game.
Ha!
And I'm very excited about it. I mean, I literally have tattoos on my wrists of the symbols of the main protagonist and antagonist of the video game. I have loved these video games since I don't even remember when the first one came out at this point. It's been so long. It's from the PlayStation 1 era.
100 years ago.
And we are in the PlayStation 4 era, if that makes any sense. But they've been going back and forth for a little while about whether or not another game's going to get made or what we're going to do. Is this going to happen? Is this not going to happen? And, a year or so ago, one of the higher-ups at the company was talked to about it, and he said, well, we'd love to develop a new IP for Legacy of Kain and get that back out there to the fans, the diehard fans that we know like it. But we got other things going on, so he said there was about a 50-50 chance of something like that actually happening.
It might happen, it might not happen, which
right.
He's saying...
That's not an answer.
Yeah, it's not.
No.
We'll see, guys.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So, here we are today, and, yesterday or day before, recently, Crystal Dynamics tweeted out a picture of Raziel from the original Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver video game with just the tweet that says, I am Raziel, firstborn of his lieutenants. And if you're familiar with Legacy of Kain as the video game series goes, that is one of the classic lines from one of the opening, the opening monologue from Raziel, I guess, if you will, when he's kind of setting the stage for the whole story. So many fans have taken that to say that either A, we're going to get a new game, and this is kind of a, hey, get hyped again about it, or we're going to remaster the games for current generation systems to see if there's enough interest in those kinds of things for us to spend the money to make a new game.
Well, and I feel like if they do the remastered editions, they're going to get a bunch of guys like you and me that grew up with it, love it. Mm-hmm. You're gonna get the nostalgia train, and I think that'll help to drag in, like, my kids could start playing it,
right?
The
Legacy of Kain games are amazing. They weren't the most revolutionary video games when it came to combat or leveling up or any of that kind of stuff. Combat was very repetitive, but what kept you going, it didn't matter that the gameplay was repetitive. What kept you going was you were engaged in such an epic tale of this place called Nosgoth and the history of the war between humans and vampires, and going even further back than that, and understanding that at one point the vampires weren't the demons that we know them. They were angelic things that were protecting mankind from some ancient evil.
Yep.
So you get steeped in the mythology of this world. And I mean, I remember myself playing Legacy of Kain Defiance, which is the most recent one in my memory. It was a PlayStation 2 game. I remember playing that game, and the parts I was bored with were the parts where I was actually doing something, where I was actually pushing buttons and fighting bad guys. I just
want to read.
Right. I want to see that next cutscene. I want to see that next piece of the story. So this little fighting that I have to do was almost like it was slowing down the game, right? Most people say big, long, drawn-out cutscenes slow down the game. This was completely the opposite. The tedious, boring fighting stuff, which had its moments and had some interesting little puzzle-solving stuff, was just to facilitate that next piece of information that you were going to get, that next cutscene that was going to tell you more of the story. I was more engaged in the character's arc than the character's, motivations to get there.
Okay.
It was a revolutionary way to tell a story. They had an excellent voice cast movie quality voice cast. I mean, these people were not just phoning it in. These people were these characters. They made you believe in who they are. And it was fantastic. It was just phenomenal. And all of that just built one of the greatest video games I've ever played. The greatest video game series I've ever played. And have it back would be a dream come true.
Have it remastered for your PS4.
I mean, remastered for my
Xbox One
PS4,
or
that's
whatever.
great. I will play the crap out of that. I want a new game. I want a new Legacy, because the last game leaves you on such a cliffhanger.
Well, then maybe you'll get it.
Right? You have, by the end of the last game, you have changed history by time traveling and altering what your destiny is in this world, and opened up the game to a new era.
We need to write him a letter.
There have been so many letters written to them. There have been so many tweets at Crystal Dynamics begging from fans for more
Nobody
stuff.
cares about tweets. Tweets are fake. You send somebody...
Tweets are this world,
You
man.
send them a physical letter.
As much as I don't like
And here,
tweets.
we're going to seal it. We're going to get like a real seal, okay? We'll have an EG seal made. I don't even care. And we'll send it to him that way.
Okay. All right.
By owl.
I mean, I'm down to send a letter, but
By
that's not how you
owl.
get people to hear your thing and your opinion in this day
I'll
and
tell
age.
you what. All right, so I will find out when they're having a meeting. Okay, they're going to be in a big board meeting. We're going to send a freaking owl in, and they're going to be like, what is this, Harry Potter? And, Hedwig will
We'll
plop.
land and drop it off.
Oh, and they're going to be like, what the hell is going on? And then they're going to read this letter, and they're going to be like, well, Jason really needs this.
And that's what we're happy. We gotta make it. We gotta make a new game.
Guys, I
They'll
don't care
tweet
how
out.
much it costs.
They'll tweet out, "Thanks, Jason." All the fans thank Jason for his
Here's
support.
his picture, and it'll be your character. Oh my god!
One of my close personal friends, who either know or have definitely had on the show, Zach Lee,
Yeah.
has the tattoo of Kain's symbol on his upper arm.
Yeah.
So we are blood brothers in our love of Legacy of Kain. In fact, when I saw this article today, the first thing I did was text him. Crap! Did you see this? This might happen now.
Did you guys get your tattoos with the same dirty needle?
No.
You're like, hey,
No.
let's go together. We're gonna use the same needle on each other.
I got these tattoos long before I ever saw the beautiful bum without his shirt on.
Okay.
And finally went, oh my god, I have that same tattoo.
Look.
But he was the first person I reached out to because I was very, very excited.
Beautiful. What else we got?
So, Marvel Legacy has been something that we've talked about a few times on the show. It's really, kind of trying to change your viewpoint as a Marvel fan now, right? It's similar to how DC Rebirth did with DC fans. And we've seen solicitations for the next few months of what's going on. And there's some interesting things that, while may seem a little gimmicky, if you look at what they're trying to accomplish, it's just a return to the things and the form that they used to love, that fans used to love,
Yeah.
which is what DC Rebirth did. DC Rebirth is doing a good job of still appealing to the new fans with this new content that you don't have to know history to read, but also appealing to the old fans by bringing back some classic things and some arcs and some stories.
Some Easter eggs.
Right,
Yeah.
that they loved back in the day, that they were devoted fans because of. So take these solicitations how you will. I think it's actually a good step in the right direction for Marvel. So the first big thing that is happening is Guardians of the Galaxy number 150 and 151 is going to bring back Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
And if you remember, there was a whole comic series about Adam Warlock called The Infinity Watch,
Yep.
which was him and Drax and Pip and Moonstone, and there was one other, and I'm spacing it right now, but they possessed the Infinity Stones. And they were just protecting the universe from people who would try to use the Infinity Stones, against the universe, like Thanos and the various other characters. And it was a whole little team-up book.
We're protecting these by keeping them all with us, so you know
Yes.
where they're at all times.
It may sound silly, but it actually made for, if you were a fan of Adam Warlock as a character, it made for some really interesting, dynamic, fun reading.
I know the read was fun. but I'm listening to it and I'm like, that is the dumbest thing you could do with Infinity Stones.
I mean, it's true. It's true.
Heaven forbid we scattered him to the far reaches of the universe. Maybe put some in an alternate universe.
Well, that's how he ended up getting a hold of him in the first place.
But
there
it
was
took
no
him a
one
while.
guarding them. They were unprotected.
Oh my gosh! And Drax is gonna stop Thanos. Get real.
No, with an Infinity Stone in his possession, Drax absolutely stopped Thanos several times throughout the Infinity Watch story. And back then, Drax was just a big dumb guy. He didn't have any motivation. He didn't have any character development.
Never have motivation.
He was just the big dumb guy.
He can't have character development.
But he does now. That's what
bull.
I'm saying. Drax is a very complex character at this stage in comic history, but back then he was just a big dumb strong guy. That was his job, was to be the big dumb strong guy. So when you have an Infinity Stone in your possession, even one, you're basically a god.
Yeah.
Right, you're basically God. Now, truth be told, they really didn't understand how to fully access the power of the stones, but they would access it in reactionary ways where it's almost kind of the stone defending itself through them. So, it was an interesting story that really kind of centered on Adam Warlock and showed you that this man is always going to be the one that will be the check against Thanos. And he's been absent in Marvel Comics for a long time.
Very long time. And he's a cool character.
Right. And we are about to bring him back in movie form with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So it's a perfect time to reintroduce Adam Warlock and maybe give him a series again, right? Maybe a new Infinity Watch with new characters that will protect the Infinity Stones. I mean, we already saw in the Marvel Legacy one-shot, Wolverine got an Infinity Stone, right? He stumbles across it accidentally, but Wolverine has an Infinity Stone in his possession now. He's a character that you can put on an Infinity Watch.
Give one to Tony Stark.
Which, no, Tony Stark does not need an Infinity
Oh,
Stone.
yeah.
First of all, Tony Stark's still in a coma, or he just came back from a coma.
And how perfect would it be if he got one? That would be hilarious. You want drama in a comic? You give Tony Stark an Infinity Stone.
I think the trope that Tony Stark has had an Infinity Stone. Tony Stark's part of the Illuminati. He had an Infinity Stone in his possession before. The Illuminati is basically the same thing as the Infinity Watch. You laughed because they hold on to them to protect them. But Charles Xavier, Tony, fucking Namor, all of these people, they did the same
Illuminati almost killed everybody, too.
I understand that. And the Infinity Watch made many mistakes during their
no, they were literally
story.
Destroying realities.
I get it. I understand.
And it almost destroyed their own.
I know.
616 almost was not.
No one should possess the Infinity Stones because no one, the only person that's ever showed any level of infallibility when it comes to wielding the Infinity Stones but not using them is Adam Warlock.
That's fair.
He's the only one that should ever possess an Infinity Stone because he's the only one that's not going to use it against the universe.
Maybe he should swallow one.
So to cut it out of his belly.
I mean, every 2 days it would pass. Okay, clean it off, do it again. No, it's fine.
No.
Or he'll just swallow the next song.
That's no good. That's no good.
Travel the universe. He can make his deposits. Okay.
So anyway, Adam Warlock will be back. They're bringing him back. Professor Xavier is back. Which I think has been a long time coming.
Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised that he stayed dead as long as he did. I mean,
With
he's
Wolverine being back, they had to bring him back.
Well, I mean, that makes sense too. But he's been dead since the end of Avengers vs. X-Men.
Yeah.
That was in 2012. I am really, really shocked that Xavier
oh my God, that was 2012.
has stayed dead as long as, yes.
I feel so old right now.
2012 is not that long ago.
It's 5 years ago.
I mean, but that's not that long when you consider how long ago 2000 was or how long ago 1990 was.
Well, you know what's funny? I saw a meme on Facebook, and it was, I still consider 30 years ago the 70s, not the 90s. And it's so true, dude.
I get it, right? I mean, I understand those kinds of things. But the point being, we haven't had, we had Professor Xavier kind of in spirit, because his brain got taken by the Red Skull, and the Red Skull was using Xavier's
Marvel
brain.
Axis, like the worst thing ever.
That Axis, and then Uncanny Avengers, where they set up that story, and he takes the brain of Xavier and he connects it with its own, and he gets all these crazy powers. So Xavier's been there in spirit, but actually physically having the embodiment of Xavier back is something that we have not had since 2012, and it's time. I'm honestly, like I said, surprised that he stayed dead as long as he did. And not surprisingly, because of the return of Xavier, we're also getting the return of Jean Grey.
Heck yeah.
Original is a weird word because the past Jean Grey is still, a part of the present day. So original seems a little weird, but the Jean Grey, the adult Jean Grey, I guess.
The one that we've come to know and love.
The one that we knew for so long, yes. Now how that will interact with her child self, or not her child self, I guess her younger self,
her adolescent,
right, is weird, and I'm not really sure what they're going to do with that idea. It's an interesting thing nonetheless. And again, you're bringing back Xavier. There's this Phoenix story, the resurrection, all of these things. I mean, it was natural Jean Grey was going to come back around.
Absolutely.
And, so again, these things just, again, feel like a return to form, right? A return to the days and the things that you loved. The other big one is Old Man Logan universe. Old Man Hawkeye is getting a 12-issue miniseries. He, in the comic world, was blind, in the Old Man Logan world. So I'm not looking at the art. It could be artistic liberties on the part of the artist, but he looks like he might still be blind. It looks like it's supposed to take place after those events, but I don't know. At the end of Old Man Logan, Logan rides off into the sunset. Hawkeye got shot in the head. He's dead. Logan rides off with Hulk Baby in his backpack.
That's right.
As the ultimate revenge on Bruce Banner for being a huge douche. So we will move on from there, or tell a story about Hawkeye before he met Logan. But when you look at the cover, it's got Logan on it. He's unsheathed the claws.
Venom's there.
Well, there was a Venom symbiote in that world that was basically just possessing all kinds of things. Like at one point, it possessed a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
I know.
The Savage Land had spilled over into the rest of the world, and there were dinosaurs walking around.
There was some weird stuff going on.
And there was a Venom T-Rex. So at the end of the old story, Hawkeye's dead. Is he going to be brought back to life? Is Logan going to try to find a way to bring him back to life? Are we going to tell a prequel story? I don't know. The artistic choices on the cover may have just been kind of an homage to the original cover, but who knows? I guess we'll
I feel like it looks like the original cover.
It does kind of.
Not complete. I'm not saying it's the same cover, but
yeah,
I think the homage is a thing.
I don't remember exactly what the original cover looked like. I can't picture it. I can't recall it in my mind, in a complete detailed way. But there's a few covers for it, so this could be like a B cover. We could get a regular cover that shows kind of a younger, older Hawkeye where he's old, but he's not blind yet. He doesn't have the Spider-Mobile, because he had the Spider-Mobile for some reason.
Makes sense.
And he drove it even though he was blind because of the Spider-Mobile, and when you run it into a wall, it just starts crawling up the wall. It was a whole weird thing. I don't know what's going on. It was a weird universe.
Very peculiar.
Okay, so you brought up the original cover. So it is kind of an homage to that cover. The only difference is Logan is kind of put in the background and Hawkeye is front and center.
Yeah.
The Hulks are missing in
Yeah, we just have a Venom in the new one.
We have the Venom up at the top. In the new one, they also had Hydra guys in the corner where there were Hulks. So it is kind of an homage to that original cover with the bloody claws and stuff like that. So yeah, that could just be what it is. It might not be a story that takes place after these events, but we'll have to wait and see. So that's, again, they've got a bunch of things that are kind of returning to what they think people will love, similar to how DC Rebirth did their, whole story.
Yeah.
So, I'm intrigued. At the very least, I have been upset with some Marvel stories recently and not really been as entertained by their company as I used to be when I was a child. But some of these new things have actually made me think that I want to give some of these things a try.
Cautious optimism.
Yeah, I talked about in the episode where we talked about Marvel Legacy that Avengers 10,000 BC, I'm in. I can't wait for that story. That story sounds amazing. The little tease we got of it in the Marvel Legacy one-shot was fantastic. I'm in for that.
When does that one start?
It's not in the solicitations, at least as far as I could see. I did not see it anywhere, but I think it is coming before the end of the year, so December, maybe even right after the start of the year in January.
I could live with that.
What they're doing right now is they've got a big Avengers story that's happening. They're introducing a brand new character, never been a part of things before, but apparently has always been a part of things. It's weird, like Beyonder level time travel stuff. So,
okay.
She's always been a part of things. So they're really kind of focusing on that right now, as far as their Avenger stuff goes, and I don't think they want another title having to take focus away from that. But once we get that going and we've kind of had those first few issues, those first 4 or 5 issues, I think then we'll see Avengers 10,000 BC. Whether it's a miniseries or an ongoing title, I'm not sure yet.
I'm in for a good miniseries right now. I don't want to get into an ongoing title.
I mean, miniseries are always more appealing to a fan because you don't have to spend as much money. You know where you're going to stop, so you don't have to think, if I stop getting this and then in 20 issues it ends, am I going to feel like an idiot because I didn't buy those last 20 issues?
Yeah.
And
Right.
have to go buy them now. So miniseries is always more appealing because you know where it's ending. You're only invested in for so long. But I think, when you look at who those characters were, so you had a Ghost Rider character, you had a Sorcerer Supreme character, you had a Phoenix.
Yeah.
I think those are, interesting characters that we could explore for more than just a miniseries. I think that could be in and of itself the bread and butter. If anything, the Legacy one-shot showed us that that was the best part of that one-shot. I mean, and you can ask, most fans will agree with you, that was the most intriguing part of the one-shot, is what they did to lead to what's going on right now. So I think you could spend a lot of time with a team like that and still bring something new to the table. It wouldn't just be your
I am not denying that at all.
classic Avengers thing.
It's just where I'm at in life.
Well, sure,
I want a
yeah.
miniseries.
Yeah. I'm kind of there too, where
It
I'd like to spend
sucks
less
getting
money.
there. It
Yeah.
sucks getting there. They're like, no, don't give me a nice ongoing series. Just give me honestly, if they were like, hey, this is going to be a 24-part series,
Yeah.
I'd be in.
That's
Like, even if it's not...
Again, you know where it ends.
That's fair.
You know it's going to be over.
I mean, they all end.
Sure.
Even Amazing Spider-Man did.
Right, every comic series ends, but you don't. The difference in a miniseries is ongoing. In ongoing, you don't know when that end's coming. It could
That's
come
fair.
2 issues from now. It could come 100 issues from now. With a miniseries, at least you know, right?
Yeah.
When you're holding issue 24, that's the last issue, and you won't have to buy any more of it.
No more buying.
But if you haven't checked out the Marvel Legacy one-shot, I highly recommend checking it out. The solicitations are up on various websites. I particularly found them on bleedingcool.com, which I frequent quite a bit. So look it up, see what intrigues you, because they've got a lot of stuff coming and trying to draw fans back in. And I think people are going to give them crap about that and say they're just copying what DC Rebirth did. But I think the big two, Marvel and DC, have been doing that to each other for years.
Oh, yeah.
When something works, the other company does it. When something else works, the other company does it. When something doesn't work, they back off, and the other company backs off.
Get excited about them taking a step in the right direction. I mean, that's really all we can do.
Right. We're taking a step in a new old direction, and whether that's right or wrong, I guess time will tell.
Yeah.
The previews are making it seem like it might be right. But that is going to wrap it up for us here. Thanks, Chris, for hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
But
You guys should check out the website.
entertainthegeeky.com.
I looked at the wrong thing. I had a thing sitting in front of me I almost looked at, but that was not the thing I should have been looking at. There's links to all the Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all that kind of stuff. Tell us what you want to hear. If you want to hear us talk about a specific thing, if you think we're not really focusing on the part of this newscast that you would like to hear more about, let us know. Hit us up, the Facebook, the Twitter. Talk to us, because we want to hear from you. So that'll do it for us. Thanks again to Chris. Until next time, guys, stay geeky.